Okay, so today we're going to look at the introduction to polynomials, and we're going to start with collecting like terms. So like terms have the same variables, and they have the same exponents on those variables. So now I want to look at which of the following are like terms. So they have to have the same exponent on the same variable. So if I look, they both have an x, and there's a 1 on both of those variables. So I can say that yes, they are like terms. If I look at the next one, I have a 3 and a 6x. This has an x, this does not. So we would say no, they are not like terms. If I look at the next one, well, they both have a variable of x. This one is squared and this one is not. So I would say no, they are not like terms. If I look at the letter D, this has an x squared, this has an x squared. So we could say yes, they are like terms. The next one, this is 4, this is 7. Neither one of them has variables, so I can say yes, they are like terms. And if I look at the last one, this has a y, this also has a y, so I can say yes, they are like terms. Now I want to add and subtract like terms. So I'm going to underline the 2x and the 5x because they are like terms. 2x plus 5x is 7x. And then I have plus 3 because it doesn't have another like term. If I look at the next one, I have a 3 and an 11. They are like terms, they are both constants. So I would do 3 plus 11. So the sign in front of the 11 goes with it. So I have 14, and then I have minus 5x because it doesn't have a like term to go with it. If I look at the next one, I have minus 8x squared minus another 1x squared. So that is minus 9x squared in total. Then I have a minus 6x and a plus 11. This has an x, this does not. So I would simply write minus 6x plus 11 after. Let's review multiplying variables. So when we multiply variables, we add the exponents. So there is like a 1 up here. So I would multiply x to the power of 1 times x squared. I would do 1 plus 2 gives me x to the power of 3. If I look at this one, there's an x to the power of 1 and an x to the power of 1. When you don't see an exponent, it's the power of 1. So I would do 1 plus 1, and I would get x squared. If I look at the next one, I'm going to do 5 times 2 is 10. I have a1 and a4, so I get a to the power of 5. If I look at this one, there's really like a 1y. So 1 times 3 is 3. Y to the power of 1 times y to the power of 10. I'm going to add 1 and 10. I'm going to get y to the power of 11. Let's review distribution. There are two different ways to do it. We can do it the long way, which means I want to do 2 times 4x plus 5. So that means what I want to do is I want to write 4x plus 5 out twice. And then I can add and collect like terms. So I have 4x and 4x makes 8x. And then I have 5 plus 5, which is 10. But say that was 20 times 4x plus 5, or 30. You don't really want to have to write it out that many times. So we try and find a way to make it a little easier. So what it means to do is I'm going to take this 2 and I want to multiply it by everything in the bracket because I'm doubling everything in the bracket. So I'm going to do 2 times 4x and I'm going to do 2 times 5. So 2 times 4x means there's 8x and 2 times 5 means there's 10. So I get to the same answer and I do a little less work. If I look at the next one, I want to take 5 and I want to multiply 5 by everything in this bracket. So I'm going to do 5 times 4x and 5 times 3. So 5 times 4x means we have 20x, and 5 times 3 means we have 15. Now I'm going to do it with a variable as well. So I'm going to multiply minus 6x times 4x and minus 6x times 3. Minus 6 times 4 is minus 24. And x times x, remember we add the exponents, so I get x squared. Now I'm going to do minus 6x times 3, so I get minus 18, and then there's an x. I want to do 3 times what's in this bracket, so I'm going to do 3 times the first term, 3 times the second term, 3 times the third term. So I'm going to do 3 times 2x squared, so I'm going to do 3 times 2, which gives me 6x squared. 3 times minus 5x would give me minus 15x, and 3 times 5 is plus 15. Okay, let's put everything together. We're going to expand and simplify. So expand means to multiply the number in front of the brackets inside the brackets, and simplify means to add like terms. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say, well, this tells me to multiply 2 times this bracket. So I have 2 times 5x is 10x, and 2 times minus 1 is minus 2. And now I have plus 3, and it's sitting in front of this bracket. So I want to do 3 times 3x and 3 times 2. So 3 times 3x is 9x, and 3 times 2 is plus 6. So here I have a 10x and a 9x. So I have 10x plus 9x is 19x. And now I have minus 2 plus 6. Those are constants. So I have plus 4. Because this minus goes with this 2, and this plus goes with this 6. I'm going to multiply 4 with what's inside this bracket. So I'm going to do 4 times minus x and 4 times 3. 4 times minus x is minus 4x, and 4 times 3 is plus 12. Now I show up with a minus 2 in front of this bracket. I'm going to minus 2 times 3x and minus 2 times 4. So minus 2 times 3x is minus 6x, and minus 2 times 4 is minus 8. So now I have x and x. So minus 4x minus 6x is minus 10x, and 12 minus 8 is plus 4. If I look at this one, now I've got a variable, which is fine, but I'm going to do 3x times everything in this bracket. So I'm going to do 3x times x and 3x times minus 1. So now we need to add exponents when we do the variable. So I have 1x and 1x, so I have 3x squared because 1 plus 1 is 2. And now I have 3x times minus 1 is minus 3x. Now I end up with this minus 2x in front of this bracket. So I'm going to multiply minus 2x times 3x and minus 2x times 6. So I'm going to do minus 2x times 3x is minus 6x squared because we're going to do 2 times 3 is 6. And then I add the ones for the exponents. Now I have minus 2x times 6 is minus 12x. I have an x squared here and an x squared here. Those are like terms. So I have 3x squared minus 6x squared is minus 3x squared. Now I have minus 3x minus 12x is minus 15x. Last one. I have x, so it's like a 1x. I'm going to multiply it with 2x and minus 1 because it's sitting in front of that bracket. 1x times 2x, so 1 times 2 is 2. X to the 1 and x to the 1, I'm going to add the exponents, so I get x squared. Now I'm going to do 1x times minus 1, so I get minus 1x. Let's put that 1 in front. It might help us. And now I'm going to do minus 3x times x. So this is really like a 1. So I have minus 3x squared because I'm going to add this one with this one. And now I want to do minus 3x times 4 because I want to multiply this minus 3x with everything in that bracket. So now I have minus 12x because 3 times 4 is minus 12, and then I have the x. Now I look at like terms. There's an x squared and an x squared. 2x squared minus 3x squared is minus 1x squared. And now I have minus x minus another 12x is minus 13x.